In the pre-dawn hush of March 2025, the sleepy town of Guadalajara de Buga, nestled in Colombia's verdant Valle del Cauca, became the stage for a cosmic mystery that would ripple across the world. It began with a strange light in the sky, a glowing metallic sphere slicing through the darkness, moving with an erratic grace that defied the laws of earthly flight. The townsfolk, roused from their beds, stood frozen, their eyes tracing its descent as it landed softly near the edge of their quiet community. This was no meteor, no fragment of space debris. It was a perfect, seamless orb, the size of a small melon, its silvery surface glinting under the first rays of sunlight. It felt cold to the touch, unnaturally so, as if it had never known the heat of atmospheric entry. The air around it seemed to hum with an unspoken promise, a whisper of something ancient yet alive, something that would unravel everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. This was the sphere of Buga, and its arrival was no accident. It was a message, a godlike riddle etched in metal, waiting to be heard. The locals who first approached the sphere described a feeling they couldn't quite name, a pull, like a tide tugging at their souls. It wasn't fear, not exactly, but a mix of awe and curiosity, as if the object was watching them as much as they were watching it. Word spread quickly, and soon scientists descended on Buga, their instruments buzzing with anticipation. What they found was beyond comprehension. The sphere was flawless, a single piece of metal with no seams, no welds, no trace of human craftsmanship. Its composition was a puzzle, primarily titanium and stainless steel, but laced with trace elements that defied metallurgical logic, alloys that seemed to shimmer with properties no lab could replicate. X-rays and CT scans peeled back its secrets, revealing a labyrinth within, three concentric layers of different metals, encircling a dense core orbited by countless tiny microspheres, like a miniature solar system frozen in time. It was a marvel of engineering, a creation that laughed at the limits of human technology. But it was the surface that stopped their hearts, etched with intricate symbols, a script that danced between the familiar and the alien, weaving together Norse runes, Celtic ogham, and Mesopotamian cuneiform, as if the sphere were a Rosetta Stone from the stars. The researchers, led by Dr. José Luis Velázquez, a man whose calm demeanor hid a relentless hunger for truth, pored over the symbols with a reverence usually reserved for sacred texts. When they decoded the engravings, the message they uncovered was both poetic and profound. The origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness. It was a phrase that felt like it could belong to a mystic's vision or a physicist's equation, a declaration that spoke of creation, connection, and the spark of awareness that binds us to the cosmos. The words echoed through the lab, stirring something deep in everyone who heard them. It wasn't just a message, it was a call, a challenge to look beyond the mundane and see ourselves as part of something vast. But the sphere wasn't content to simply speak. It was listening too, responding to the humans who stood in its presence, as if it could sense their thoughts, their emotions, their very essence. Dr. Elena Suarez, a linguist with a poet's heart, was among the first to notice the sphere's strange behavior. While studying the runes one evening, she felt a low hum, just beyond the edge of hearing, vibrating through the lab. The instruments confirmed it, a faint resonance emanating from the sphere, triggered only when she drew near. When she stepped back, startled, the hum ceased, as if the sphere were waiting for her to return. The team began to test this phenomenon, bringing volunteers to stand before the orb, their heart rates and brain waves monitored with clinical precision. The results were staggering. When someone approached in a calm, meditative state, the sphere responded with subtle vibrations, its internal structure singing in patterns that matched the person's alpha and theta brain waves, states of deep focus and tranquility. It was as if the sphere were tuning itself to the rhythm of their minds, a silent conversation that needed no words. Dr. Mariana Diaz, a psychologist on the team, called it a mind-machine interface, but not like anything humans had ever built. This was no clunky device requiring wires or implants. It was triggered by presence, by consciousness itself, as if the sphere could see the invisible threads of thought and emotion weaving through the air. The implications were dizzying. If this was technology, it was centuries, perhaps millennia, beyond our own. A device that didn't just process data, but danced with the human soul. The team began to wonder, was this a message in a bottle, cast across the cosmos by some distant intelligence? Or was it something more? A tool designed to awaken something within us, to nudge humanity toward a truth we weren't yet ready to grasp? The sphere seemed to hold secrets it would only reveal to those who approached it with openness, with stillness, with trust. But then, 3 weeks into the study, something even more impossible happened. A lab technician, bleary-eyed from late-night work, noticed a change in the sphere's surface. The microscopic engravings, those ancient-looking symbols, were shifting. New glyphs were appearing, weaving themselves into the original patterns like threads in an ever-evolving tapestry. At first, the team thought it was a trick of the light, a glitch in their imaging systems. But when AI-enhanced microscopy confirmed the changes, the lab fell silent. The sphere wasn't just a static artifact, it was alive, its message updating itself, responding to the world around it. Dr. Suarez, her voice trembling with excitement, proposed a radical idea. This wasn't just a message, but a conversation. The new symbols bore a striking resemblance to modern digital code, binary-like sequences braided with the ancient scripts, as if the sphere were translating its wisdom into a language we could understand. The original message about birth and consciousness remained, but it was growing, evolving, as if the sphere were adapting to the humans studying it, offering new layers of meaning with each passing day. A Colombian physicist, usually reserved, put it bluntly. This might not just be a message, it could be a dialogue with something far greater than us. The idea sent shivers through the team. Were they merely observers, or were they participants in something cosmic, something that had been waiting for humanity to catch up? The sphere was no longer just an object. It was a mirror, reflecting our questions, our fears, our potential. And as the researchers dug deeper, they realized the sphere was only the beginning. Across South America, ancient artifacts in museums began to hum with strange energy, as if awakened by the sphere's arrival. The mystery was spreading, and it was about to take them somewhere they never expected. The sphere of Buga wasn't just a solitary enigma. It was a key, unlocking doors to mysteries hidden in plain sight. As the researchers in Colombia grappled with its evolving message, a startling discovery emerged from the Gold Museum in Bogota. A curator, inspired by the buzz surrounding the sphere, dusted off a weathered metallic orb from the museum's pre-Columbian collection. Catalogued decades ago as a ceremonial object, it had sat ignored, assumed to be a ritual weight or cosmic symbol. But when X-ray scans lit up its interior, the truth hit like a thunderbolt. This was no ordinary artifact. Its structure mirrored the Buga spheres, concentric metal layers, a dense core, and tiny microspheres orbiting in precise patterns. Found in a cave near Santa Marta in the 1940s, it was dated to roughly 1,000 years old, a relic of the Kogi people. Yet its inscriptions told a different story, complementing the Buga sphere's message of beginnings with themes of completion and return, as if the two were halves of a single cosmic poem. Dr. Elena Suarez, her eyes wide with wonder, whispered, "It's like one speaks of birth, and this one of coming home." The realization sank in. If one sphere had been overlooked for centuries, how many more were out there, waiting to be found? The mystery deepened when the team tried something new. During a late-night session, a researcher played traditional Andean pan flute music near the Buga sphere, its haunting notes filling the lab. Suddenly, instruments spiked. The sphere was emitting low-level radio pulses, not random noise, but a language of mathematics. Embedded in the signals were universal constants, pi, phi, Fibonacci sequences, woven into patterns too precise to be chance. The pulses shifted with the sphere's location and the time of day, as if it were tuning itself to Earth's magnetic field or some distant cosmic rhythm. Dr. Jose Luis Velasquez, his voice steady but laced with awe, called it an intentional transmission, a message any advanced civilization would recognize. The sphere was speaking not just to the researchers, but to something larger, perhaps broadcasting across the stars. The team set up round-the-clock monitoring, capturing every pulse, every shift, sensing they were on the verge of decoding something profound. But what came next turned their awe into disbelief. A graduate student who'd spent weeks near the sphere began reporting vivid dreams, geometric patterns, radiant beings, symbols that echoed the sphere's engravings. At first, the team dismissed it as exhaustion, but routine health checks revealed something unthinkable: changes in her DNA. Non-coding regions, long dubbed junk DNA, were suddenly active, expressing new protein configurations. When other team members were tested, the pattern held. Those who spent the most time with the sphere showed similar genetic shifts. These individuals reported heightened creativity, emotional clarity, and, in some cases, the sudden easing of chronic anxiety. Dr. Mariana Diaz, the team's psychologist, cautioned against jumping to conclusions, but her eyes betrayed her excitement. "Something's happening at a biological level," she said. "The sphere is triggering a response we can't explain." A controlled study was launched, volunteers flocking to Buga under strict medical oversight, each hoping to touch the mystery and feel its strange alchemy. The sphere wasn't just an object, it was changing people, as if awakening something dormant within them. The phenomenon wasn't confined to Colombia. Museums in Peru, Bolivia, and even Egypt reported faint electromagnetic fluctuations in ancient artifacts, stone carvings, astronomical tools, objects tied to cosmic lore. When curators at the Gold Museum brought the ancient Muskasun disk near the Buga sphere, instruments detected a faint vibration, the two objects resonating in perfect harmony. Dr. Rafael Martinez, an archaeologist with a poet's soul, proposed a breathtaking theory. These artifacts might form a planetary grid, a network of objects lying dormant until now, activated by the sphere's arrival. Ancient texts, from Andean cosmology to Egyptian myths, spoke of cosmic cycles and awakenings. What if these artifacts were markers left by a civilization, human or otherwise, to awaken when the time was right? The synchronicity was undeniable, objects separated by continents and centuries, humming in unison, as if part of a design woven into the fabric of the Earth itself. Then came the breakthrough that tied it all together. Mathematicians, analyzing the sphere's internal structure, discovered its microspheres weren't randomly placed. They formed a geometric pattern, a cosmic map. When overlaid on a global grid, key points aligned with sacred sites: Teotihuacan in Mexico, the Giza Plateau in Egypt, Stonehenge in England. The patterns echoed the golden ratio, the flower of life, shapes revered across ancient cultures. Dr. Anarosis, a mathematician with a mystic's curiosity, marveled at the precision. "These aren't coincidences," he said. "They're a language written in the geometry of the universe." Even more astonishing, the sphere's axis, when positioned as it landed, aligned with solstice angles and planetary cycles that occur once every 26,000 years. Whoever created it had encoded a map not just of Earth, but of the cosmos, a blueprint of time and space. And then the numbers revealed something more: coordinates pointing to 3 sites in South America, a remote Amazon basin, a cave in northern Peru, a hidden corner of Lake Titicaca. The sphere was a guide, and it was leading humanity somewhere. A privately funded expedition set out for the Amazon, the most accessible of the coordinates, their hearts pounding with the weight of discovery. Dr. Velasquez stayed behind, monitoring the sphere, but the team's early reports sent shockwaves through the lab. Satellite imagery of the Amazon site revealed geometric formations, unnatural shapes carved into the jungle. The coordinates weren't random. They were deliberate, pointing to places of deep cultural significance, forming a triangle with Buga at its center. The sphere wasn't just a message, it was a marker, a beacon in a larger story. As the expedition dug deeper, the world held its breath, wondering what lay hidden in the jungle, what secrets the sphere was guiding them toward. Back in the lab, the sphere hummed softly, as if it knew something they didn't, its message still unfolding, its purpose still a mystery. pulling humanity closer to a truth it could feel but not yet name.